What's up, everyone? I'm Justin. We're going to talk about motifs today on the guitar, and I'm going to give you guys some motif examples. Going to show you guys some blues chords that you can play on the guitar, and then I'll do a little demo for you guys on the progression and the motifs. So a motif in the blues is like a riff that's played repeatedly throughout the progression, and it kind of catches your ear, and it's something that gets stuck in your head, and you start humming it or singing it, right? So in the example from the beginning, I was doing a motif kind of like this. Right, that was kind of my motif throughout the progression. So they make soloing and improvising really enjoyable because you're telling a story with riffs, right? And with notes. Another example of a motif is something like this. Right? It tends to repeat and get caught in your head. Here's another example of a motif. Right? So they're melodic phrases that basically keep the listener enjoying what's happening with the chords and the notes, right? It makes music interesting when you use these motifs. So I'm going to do an example in the key of B minor. We're going to be using a B minor 7 chord. Then we're going to be using an E minor 9. And then the 5 chord. And I'm going to use some motifs to keep the song interesting for you guys. So, awesome. Let's get rocking. All right, so I took that riff and I played it throughout. So it's basically the top half of the minor pentatonic scale. And I'm sliding. If you've watched my other videos, I've talked about pentatonic pathways. And I'm sliding from the blue note on the 8th fret up 1 fret. It's just a half step. And then after I play that, I play an arpeggio. That's all I'm doing. That's the motif, right? Those two riffs kind of mesh together, right? Right? And then in between the motifs, I can do some improvisation. And then you want to go back to that motif. It's telling a story, right? And as the story progressed, I used that motif an octave higher. I use it a little bit higher and slightly different, right? Just to kind of tell the story of the song, right? And kind of sounds like a horn section would be doing that. Right? So moving up an octave is a great way for playing motifs over a blues progression because it's the same or similar motif, but it's up an octave and it's helping the listener build the story in their brain with their ears, right? With the music, right? Who knows what the listeners will be picturing when they're hearing that riff? Maybe it's walking down the street, or it's they're in a big city and they're going to a restaurant. I don't know. Who knows? But that's the cool thing with music. When you write instrumental music, it can take your listeners on a journey if you use the right notes and the right motifs. So, other motifs you can do, just repeating the same riff. And the blues is wonderful for this. So you can be playing these chords. You can really get into storytelling with just a few motifs in your improvisations. And then, after you've kind of developed those motifs, you can have a section of the song where you're just improvising, right? Anyway, hopefully this has gotten you guys excited about writing your own motifs over blues progressions, or it doesn't even have to be over a blues progression. It can be over any type of chord progression, just as long as your melody is telling a story. If you guys are interested in learning the notes on the guitar, scales, everything that requires you to develop motifs, I do have an ebook. It is in the link below in the description. I have an ebook on pentatonic scales that you guys can use to develop motifs and patterns in your playing to tell a story. Hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. Rock on, y'all.